Hello, welcome to the place on the internet I talk about comic books. Let's see if I'm trying to figure out f-stops. Everybody, this is not my wheelhouse. I just wanted to do a recap of Gehenna: Naked Aggression. Now that the series has come to a close, issue 4 hit shelves yesterday, and sales went up. Sales went up on issue 4. I can't tell you how good that feels as a creator. We were happy with issue 3 sales, and this is not a humble brag. This is what I'm going to be getting at throughout this entire video. There's no humble bragging here, because I don't believe that anything that's successful about this project comes down to any measure of planning on my part. It's very accidental, and it's now me trying to do a forensics on the thing that turned out well to see why it might have turned out well, and if there's anything that can be learned and applied to future projects. Had we known that issue 4 sales would be what they were, maybe we would have continued the series, or at least started a new story. And we're going to be revisiting the Gehenna character in other Gehenna books, but really, if our final issue, which came in at 8,000 and change, 8,300, something like that, if it came in at 8,300 with the previous issue being at 8,025 or something like that, then that 8,000, let's say that number was steady. It was steady from issue 3 to issue 4, slight raise, whatever. 8,000 would be such a beautiful number to maintain. Imagine if that number could be maintained through 10. What a volume of great work we could have produced. Maybe we'll find out in the future. For the time being, I like this format of short series. Get in, get out, give retailers an opportunity to sell like a vivacious issue 1, hopefully rope a reader throughout the entire thing. So I don't mind talking about sales. Everybody in comic books are afraid to talk about their successes, afraid to talk about money. Again, because I take no credit for anything happening here in terms of the book's success, I'm just going to be very straightforward and transparent with you. Issue 1 did just under 19,000. Issue 2 did maybe 11. I don't have my sheet in front of me. Maybe 11. And the issues 3 and 4 did in the 8,000 ballpark. So look, maybe those numbers sound great to you, maybe they sound terrible to you. I don't know what your expectations of comic book sales are. If you're a professional, I think that those would sound pretty good to you depending on the project. If something could settle at 8 and do 8 for any stretch, you have a book with legs under it. That much at least is true. So how did we do that? Again, taking no credit. I think the simplicity of the premise, it's something that could be explained from a retailer to a customer in 2 seconds. The simplicity of the covers, I think, were huge. There's no way to quantify this. I tried very hard in the information that came back about the covers, about the sales of each cover. Which those of you that work with image, I think that you probably find this as fascinating as I do. Getting those numbers back each month and trying to make sense of what it says about the market, if anything, right? So I think that the simplicity of the covers, again, unquantifiable, simplicity of the premise, can't quantify that either, but that's my feeling. I think that those things contribute. Oh, and sexy ladies. You know what I mean? Not every project is simplistic. Not every project has sexy ladies. These may not be applicable to you, and it might not be applicable to my future stories to some degree, but I'm trying to make sense of it and here's the message. I'm trying to not necessarily tailor my books to retailers, but I am trying to package my books in a way that makes sense to retailers and they can make the most use of in the limited time that they have to sell things to people. So that's what I'm trying to discern. Now, this comes at a moment where friends and colleagues with books that are just as good or better than ours aren't doing fewer numbers. Their sales are not as strong. And I think that what that demonstrates is that there's no trust. And I don't mean in them. I mean, retailers are not inclined to trust you on the execution. They can't see that coming one way or the other. All they know is what is in front of them, which is, hey, what's this about? Okay, it's taking too long because I have to sell it to somebody. So what's it about? One line? Can you give me one line? Okay. Fighting for fighting for the attention of customers on the shelf. What's the covers? What do the covers look like? Do they grab? And again, I don't want to discount the boob factor, right? Like the pretty lady factor of our book, which I'm sure was responsible for a good amount of sales. But do my friends and colleagues who have who their books didn't sell as well this time out, is that the market? Is that the number that reflects the actual strength of the market? And I was relying on certainly with the cover scheme of the Not Safe for Work covers, that buoys everything by a few thousand, right? In terms of sales, a few thousand each time, definitely. And in terms of money, well, that adds up very quickly because those are $10 books. So what if your book is, has a child for a lead or something? Obviously, you're not going to be doing Not Safe for Work covers, right? Maybe you just don't want to do it. Maybe the Not Safe for Work covers don't appeal to you. It's antithetical to what your book is about or the vibe. That's all fair. So what can you do? I don't know. I guess a big part of this for me was realizing that the retailer is king. And that's not ass kissing. This is like I said, this is a realization. This is something I have to reconcile, because you always want to believe, oh, hey, no, I've got readers. People know that I can do a thing well. But the retailer deals with so much product every month that it just needs to immediately make sense to them, because they might respect you, they might love your work, but they don't have time to sift through. They don't have time to sell it on the strength of, hey, this is a guy that whose work has been great every time. What does that mean to a customer? If he doesn't know that person, he's going to say, yeah, you know what I mean? Can you tell me what it's about? So I think the retailer being ultimately where the buck stops, their belief in what they can sell accurately or not, right? I guess that's another issue, is maybe you're sitting there going, I had an angle. The retailer could have just run with this. They could. Why didn't they share my vision? That's going to happen sometimes, I guess. For me, this feeling, this understanding, I guess. And I'm able to say this because my book did well this time. If my book had not done well, I'm sure that I would be coming at this from a different angle. But this belief that, okay, the retailer is admittedly my customer. I have readers beyond that, but my customer is the retailer. Now, I could kiss that retailer's ass. I could glad hand and do all the things that I'm supposed to do, but I'm not sure that's going to matter. I think that most of these people are not, they're business people that are not thinking with their hearts most of the time. I think that they have families that they need to feed, and they're looking at things saying, okay, Spider-Man, that motherfucker, monthly sales from me. He's in the mix. You know what I mean? And then if you're coming with something that's like, oh, this is about a ghost that inhabits a microphone. and look, maybe this is like one of those sad realities, because I'm launching a number of projects next year, and some of them are more saleable than others, and maybe I'll have different insights. But I've had books that haven't sold well before, and trying to make sense of those losses was really difficult for me, because I just couldn't understand what retailers were or were not seeing. And since having at least a minor success, retailers are much more upfront with me in this moment than I feel were when I wasn't selling books. And they just seem to chalk it all to, yeah, it was easy to hand people. I'm not saying that you got to change your book to meet anybody's expectations or needs, but I'm operating in the future off of, it was easy to hand people. So the book has to sell on that. It doesn't have to be that. Maybe there's a Trojan horse to the whole thing where, there is something intellectual to the story. There is something, or esoteric or less obvious at least. But in terms of getting the retailer to buy my book is going to be on the strength of the idea that they can hand it to a customer, look them in the eye, give them a 4-second pitch. The customer looks at it, they understand what it is at first glance. And again, if you're like, this is dumbing shit down, I don't blame you. Hey, don't. This is just what I'm taking from it, right? Because I have a job. I don't need my comics to make a ton of money, but I've come to the realization that a successful book means that I can put more books into the world. The money that's coming in from Gehenna is going into the next Maurizio project. That's a great feeling. So as long as I'm not running counter to what I think is great in comics, I'm comfortable with trying to meet the retailers halfway on these things. But am I going to do it right every time? No, I'm sure not. I don't do anything right. but I'm trying to take the lessons from the data in front of me, from the things that I hope that I'm learning, and it may or may not be applicable for some of my viewers, but it's a thing that I'm fascinated by. I really did not have a grip on it in failure. Like in things that did not sell as well, I could not determine why something wasn't working, but I think I can determine why something did. Now you can hit me with maybe there's some type of, maybe that's survivor's bias or something like that. Maybe, feel free to leave a comment, but I'm trying to learn. I'm no sort of business person. I never have been. And everything is still vibes for me, but I'm trying to use the vibe detector on the market, and maybe I have a little bit more of a handle on it after this experience. That's all. I don't know. I can't see how that would have helped you at all, but I'm working through my thoughts on this. All right. Everybody have a beautiful day. Go buy some comics. Gehenna Naked Aggression issue 4 on shelves today. Thank you again for supporting it. Really grateful. No, and again, please, other comic pros, if those numbers sound good to you, I didn't do that to put my thumb in anybody's eye. I'm just a guy that's fumbling through this, and I think maybe being honest about these things, including, I'll be honest about if the next one doesn't sell, and maybe we can help each other in whatever way. Have a good one.